I can hear you
Can you
now,
hear me
but
now?
you got to switch your camera so I can see you too. And let me
Oh
just
man,
warn you, you have to be on your best behavior because a guy named Clay Pratka, he's watching.
man, that's what I heard he was going to be doing today.
So,
All right,
no, I
can
see you
you
now.
still not see me?
Yeah, you just got to
Oh,
find
okay,
a.
perfect.
Okay. I thought you
All
were gonna.
right.
I thought you were gonna put
I was
a
hoping.
long-haired wig on so that you look like the pictures I used.
Man, I was wanting to grow it back recently, but just ever since I cut it off, there's been so many events happening to where I gotta keep
Yeah.
it. I gotta keep it
Wait,
professional.
what do you say? Long hair is not professional?
Well, no, but for
Okay.
what I'm trying to do right now, uh, whenever I get a little more established, I'll probably get a little bit longer. Who knows? I may get a little dreaded
I
up as
hear
well
that.
before I cut it back off.
So listen. So here's the deal, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, I gotta ask you,
Hmm.
who the heck is Gunnar Davis? You're not the staff reporter for the Smithsonian, are you? Smithsonian.
For the
No.
Smithsonian,
Okay. Are you
uh,
related to the
no.
Vietnam veteran of Margaretville, New York?
I am of no
Okay. Are you
relation that I am
related to a
aware of.
Gunnar Davis from Park Forest, Illinois?
I actually talked to him the other day, and I'm
Fort
just kidding.
Walton
No
Beach,
idea.
Florida. Jackson,
Another Gunnar
Mississippi.
Davis? Wow, I thought the
Stigler.
name was a
No,
little
I'm
rare.
not
It's kind of
done.
bringing me down a little
Stigler,
bit.
Oklahoma.
Hmm.
St.
He's a little
Peters,
north of me.
Missouri. All Gunnar
All
Davises.
Davises as well?
Sanston, Virginia.
It sounds like I need to bring the crew together and unite or something.
All right. Fairborn, Ohio,
Something.
and Worcester, Massachusetts. I swear to you,
Wow. And you just found
I
these
found
guys, just
all
typed in
these
the Gunnar
guys
Davis.
when I Googled your name.
Oh, I hope, man, there's no telling what you found whenever you Googled Gunnar Davis. And, good, in good ways, I'm sure. Hopefully.
So listen, did you teach last night?
I did. I went up to Houston last night. Clay stuck back to Fort. We're having a split up right now because
Okay.
competition's right around the
Okay,
corner, and so I went up to
I'm
Houston
gonna
to
get
stick
to
one of
all
the
of that.
coaches.
All right, so you taught last night. So here's what I want you to do. What was your
Okay.
breakdown for curriculum for last night's class?
Oh, okay, cool. We're working a lot on primary and secondary. Primary being in the sense that one side was
Uh-huh.
initiating as the attacker. The other side was working more on basically methods of attack. I had one side predominantly throwing the jab, whipping it, but slowly at first so they can get used to it. Progressively towards the end, I had one side sparring with the jab
Right.
while the other side's working their counters. But I stuck more with boxing, Chinese boxing last night. I did methods of attack in the sense of I was going during with low jabs. I was doing bong das, going splits to the head, just a lot of different highs and lows, angling off to the sides. I did it a lot because we're trying to get the students a lot more
Uh-huh.
comfortable with the Chinese boxing. But it's also, I'm not going to lie, a little selfish is what I'm working to get prepared for
Right.
the
So
competition
okay,
coming up as
so
well.
this
So
competition thing.
a little bit of that.
So I know that the kids are heading out to Disney, right? Okay. Is there
Yeah.
an adult
Yes, sir.
competition team as well? Or it's just the kids? Oh, there is.
Yes. Yeah. As far as
Yeah,
in
no,
our school or
for
all
your
schools in
school
general?
and what's going on in Disney. Is that just the kids competition or
Yeah. It's the whole
ah,
crew from kids from 8 to who I think me and Beverly are probably the
okay.
oldest ones that are competing. So
And
yeah, yes sir. Oh, it's a huge competition out there. It's like
well,
thousands
yeah.
of people that go out there. So there's plenty of people to kind of choose from.
And this is
Well, move around with.
this is all sparring, right? This is not like forms competition and that kind of stuff.
Oh, it is. It's like a full weekend thing. Most of the forms happen on one day, whereas the
Hmm.
sparring happens on the other. Last year, I was a little more injured. I wasn't able to do as many sparring matches as I would have liked, so I actually did a
Oh,
form
really?
there. So they have forms. Yeah, it was. I had to do what I could do. I'm not just gonna sit out and stuff like that. It's not my nature. But yeah, they had all kinds of forms, just from like, blades, the sticks, empty-handed katas. Then the following day they had board breaking.
Right.
It's the whole shebang. They try and encompass, all sides of the martial arts, from the sportive
So
side to the traditional side to they
where
even
in
have
heaven's
reality stuff
name
there
would
as
you
well.
pull a form from? Yeah.
A form? Well, just really, you go to Disney. We really hooked it up in, I think, 2017. We were looking for this competition because we have this stuff around the area, but
Right.
it's mostly point sparring here. In Houston, there's a lot of BJJ. There are some, kickboxing and striking and stuff like that. And we do enroll the kids
Yeah.
in the BJJ tournaments as well. But we were looking for some good striking, and we could find some things here and there. But we found Disney, and it's like, wow, we can have this event that's like, like in every major movie there is, like Karate Kid or like in any cartoon I watch, there's like a world tournament that everyone's getting ready for like a year,
Right.
and then
Yeah,
one
yeah.
year later,
Yeah.
everyone's ready to do it. And so we found this Disney thing, and so I think Beverly, we were like playing around with the idea, and Beverly or Clay went to the website and saw that there was a competition, and like, okay, cool, and we went. And since we were competing, they have like deals for
Right.
people and family to go to Disney to
Yeah.
have packages and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just go to the
Okay,
Disney
but
website.
No, but
really.
what
That's
I
it.
meant was if you did a form, yeah, where
Oh,
did
a
you?
form. Oh, I thought you meant like a form to pull out. I'm sorry.
Where would you pull that from? Yeah, what was your
Oh,
training in
me. Oh, a
forms?
form. I got you. Oh, I see where you're going with this. Well, the form that I did particularly was from Sarada
Okay.
Eskrima, from Angel Kabbalah's,
Uh-huh.
from Stockton. I did the, pulling a blank right now, but I did that form. Well, what's crazy is I did the form in the wrong division, and the guys that I went against, there was a dude that had like spiky hair, like straight out of like a Japanese like thriller or something like that, and they were like doing backflips and stuff, and I went to do, I did a traditional kata essentially against these guys. But the gangster
That's
thing
okay.
is I'm sorry if I'm loud. The gangster thing is I still got like third. I still beat some of the other guys that were doing all the fancy stuff. So they told
Right.
me, hey man, you did awesome.
Well,
but
see,
wrong
here's why,
division.
right? What they
So-
don't know is that you're a character from Dead Effect. Have you heard of that one?
Dead Effect. I can't. I don't know, man. I'm
I
usually
have-
really good at the
I
references,
don't
man.
know what
but I'm
it is,
drawing a
but
blank
there's
today.
a character named Gunnar Davis in something called Dead Effect. I swear to you, look it up.
Interesting. I gotta go Google my name, man.
You'll, yeah.
Kind of afraid,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'd
you'll
be
there
surprised. I
all
guess
night,
what I would see.
I guarantee. I guarantee. So listen, here's the other thing I wanted. I hope you are hydrated because I plan to talk your ear off.
Oh well, here's the thing. One day, whenever I become a famous UFC fighter, hopefully I have Topo
Okay, there
Chico
you
just
go.
punching me. I was already a little planned. I wanted to show you that us millennials can be punctual and have duality at the same time.
That. Mr. Pratka is saying that you did T-Bone 1.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He just threw a blank. I have the bubble guts right now. I've never been interviewed, so I drew a blank. But this is cool. This is giving me, preparation for what's coming up.
So here's the
thank
thing.
you for that.
I used a picture of you. I guess it's an old one because, well, no, you tell me. It's a picture of you with your blue and white gloves with a little kid in his black gi and his white belt. And he looks like he
Yes,
is
sir.
having the time of his life.
That was a family of 3. Man, I've had so many kids. I think his name was Cameron. His name was Cameron, and he came up, and I think it was one of the belt tests and stuff like that. And it was just, man, they just kill me in here. It's just like I'm trying to be serious sometimes, but it's so hard. But that was the belt test, and he came up. I was thinking I was trying to tell him to show everyone his serious face, and I think that was it. That was probably like I don't know. It was definitely whenever Clay and Beverly were off on their Kung Fu adventure. That's where it's probably 2014.
But see, here's the
or so.
thing. The other thing that I noticed in that, even though the kid looks like he's having the time of his life, but you look like you're enjoying yourself too.
Man, I guess what can you say? I'm just a big kid. I I guess in a sense, like whenever I was growing up, I never got to
Right.
like play with other kids as much. I was always like sickly or
Really?
like really, really, really chunky. Yeah, I actually I had a nurse whenever I was in fourth grade. I never like went to recess because I was in the nurse's office, like taking breathing treatments and stuff like that. I had like severe asthma. And so I would never go to the playground, and I would like always pretend getting hurt and stuff like that. And I was actually called a bubble boy. I was
No.
like, no, she said, we're gonna have to put you in a bubble one day and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but it was mostly because I was a little more,
Okay.
I wasn't as hard, I guess, then, and I was a little more soft. But since I wasn't able to like have that experience, like whenever I got to junior high and more into high school, I was already helping with kids so much because I enjoyed that experience even
Right.
before I did martial arts, and so I guess that already kind of helped fuel whenever I
So,
came in
okay,
here
so then
and
tell us the
started.
story about that. How do you go from almost being a bubble boy to being the Gunnar Davis that we all love and enjoy?
I hate the word bubble boy, man, because like that just makes me think of that one like what is it, the Jake Gyllenhaal movie
Uh,
or whatever.
I don't know the reference.
Anyways. Okay, all right, we're both
Yeah,
drawing
we'll
blanks on
catch
each
one.
other. We'll catch one soon. Um,
Somebody
but
said, oh,
so
somebody
I was
says
born. I had like
chunkly.
chunkly.
Yeah,
Oh, I was
somebody
trying to
says
say two words at
chunkly.
once. That happens. Chunky. Oh, there's always someone that has to have a comment. Oh, it's Beverly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
okay.
whole
We'll
other
get to
topic
that too.
probably right there.
All right, so yeah, so
Sorry.
tell me how that came about. Your start in martial art and stuff.
So basically, all through elementary, whenever I was born, I was very sickly. I had to be resuscitated. I was born like with the umbilical cord around my throat, so I had a very, very
Yeah.
severely small airway at first. And so I had a hard time, and I was really frail. I was in and out of the hospital for the first whatever years, and then just throughout elementary and throughout even high school, I didn't really have anything. I just did nothing, just went to school and
Hmm.
did what I could. And then in high school, or a little bit before high school, I kind of looked in the mirror and I was like, man, you're like fat. You got to do something about yourself. And about that time, that's whenever my dad just got like a total gym,
Yeah.
total gym, and I had the total gym, and I had an LL Cool J fitness
All
book.
right.
This is before I did martial arts, and it was called the Platinum Body, and I just did that for a little
Yeah.
bit, and I did what I could, because I realized I needed to do something, and it felt good. I started to find something that I liked that I didn't really was a part
Yeah.
of before, even if it was with myself. And my mom started doing this kickboxing class with this guy that was training with Clay at the time, and she was like, "Hey," she was talking to Clay, and Clay had similar problems to me whenever he was growing up. He was a little asthmatic and super uncoordinated and whatnot. Sorry, Clay. And he's like, no, he beats my
Uh, uh,
butt now. So, anyways, and so there's a lot of similarities. So my mom told me to come in, and then it was like whenever I was in 11th grade, right before Never Back Down came out. I remember
yeah.
that I started training, and that was just me coming in as a student. I didn't really even come in as a student for Clay yet. I was coming into his student, and honestly, he's probably gonna hate that I say this. Clay really didn't like me at first. He thought I was a
Uh-huh.
little shit. So,
Yeah, but
but that's really how I started.
sometimes
I
the
was in
best
and out,
relationships start that way.
right?
Yeah.
It took some forging, but now I can call him a
Okay,
brother. So
okay, we'll fast forward a little bit and bring us to the Kung Fu Adventure. Yeah. So those two take it upon themselves. So anybody who has listened to the other dialogue episodes with Mr. and Mrs. Pratka will have
right,
heard of the
those
Kung Fu
guys.
Adventure. But I want to hear about it from your perspective.
It's cool. It's like a Quentin Tarantino piece. I can't wait for the end film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Uh, Quentin Tarantino. Anyways, so they went off, man. I don't really remember when it was decided that they were
Mhm.
gonna like finally go. It just we knew for some time that we were good, but we were complacent. Complacency isn't always
Okay.
the best place to stay at, and so Clay was just decided, it was for our evolution that he was going to go off with Sifu Singh. And at that point, that was fast forwarded from like 3 years before that. Whenever I just started, um, I was already kind of doing the kids classes. I was helping assist with the
Yeah.
adult classes and stuff like that. And he decided to go off. and it was totally cool. He just kind of left me his infant for me to care for, and it was great and scary and awesome and gratifying and horrible, and I had to do
Right.
I had to evolve. I had to evolve as
Right.
a person. Like I had to evolve as a martial artist. Like I had to become a better martial artist because I was the head of this thing while my teacher was gone, and so I had to be on point for myself, for my teaching. I had to be on point if like some
Yeah.
dude walks in
Yeah.
and he's like, "Hey," and I have to be able to do that. So I had to be on point there. Then I had to like, how am I going to get in more students while Clay is there? Obviously, they're still helping me and they're coming back and forth every few months and stuff. But the thing about Clay is like he's like that kind of teacher that he will give you what you need and the tools that you need, but he'll also point to where you need to go. But he will give you the ability to find something yourself. And so whenever he left me the school, he didn't just leave me the school to take over. He left me a vehicle for me to discover myself, really. And so he was in and out. He was getting better. He was still bringing curriculums. He was still bringing material down because him being in California was benefiting us from more material coming down. Retention was coming up. It was also benefiting Sifu Singh because Sifu Singh had a body to be working on. So it was like a full circle involvement that that really benefited all of us. And then whenever he came back, it was just all the more merry because after him being up there and getting what he needed and coming back, now it's just now we're at the next level.
How soon after they came back did the second location come into being?
We've always have had a second location.
Okay, so explain that to me.
In Houston.
Where?
Yeah, you'll probably see different
I'm
videos
confused.
and pictures and everything.
Okay. Is the ranch one of the locations, or is the ranch just for the retreat?
Hey man, we just train wherever the earth.
Yeah, because you and Beverly are always outside, kicking a pole, kicking a wall, right? Sparring each other. Where the heck is that?
So how should I explain? So this is kind of still part of the Kung Fu adventure. Before they left, we had decided to start. Sorry, I'm all shaky. Let me get that. So before he left, he's correcting me as I go. My timeline, Clay, my like the last 5 years of my life, 6, 7 years has been like so backwards because of them coming and going. And they're back. It's crazy. But we had all the different locations. Before they left, we had established a location in a rec center that we had rented out for a while, and we were doing classes there in Houston in the downtown area, which happened to be adjacent to this beautiful park that we would also train in as well. That has the big stage that you guys see as well sometimes. So we trained, and we had that room for a while. And the rec room was kind of shady, and it was also kind of a shady area as well. So we were kind of in and out of there while management was going in and out. But everywhere that we're at was in Houston, essentially. Downtown Houston or in Eastern Houston and stuff like that. You probably have seen pictures of us like on the big yin and yang. I think if you put a picture of me up in the, that was also all in Houston. So basically, our locations are Houston at the moment and Mexico.
And you teach at both of them. So now describe for me the teaching setup. Who teaches where and when?
That's the cool thing about having like all three of us is like we have the power to like just go like tackle a class, just like all three of us, the trio. But then, for instance, today Clay had to stick back to help with the competition kids that are getting ready. So we have the ability to we're all on the same page all the time. And so we have the ability to go in there and tackle, and it's all the better. Not saying it's not coming down whenever we only have one of us there, but we can tackle it or we can split ourselves. And so like last night, I went up and and I had my little assistant with me, which is one of the little students that came up in class. And so we had that ability.
That's pretty cool. So, Okay. Now, last night's curriculum that you were working on. So is it a set curriculum? So for example, is the curriculum so set that I could say to you, okay, Gunnar, in the first week of August, what's going to be taught in such and such class?
We have it. That's the thing, man. The curriculum has always been evolving and whatnot. and it still is, but we have it a little more set to where, basically have it to where kind of it goes in revolutions, where there are some points where there are topics, but everything is still covered. But, you know, again, JKD is consisted of multiple things, but you don't want to be a jack of all, or I was a jack of all trades, but a master of none. So we still make it a point to where we're putting everything into the classes, and we have progressions to where we can do it, to where the
Right.
person that comes right off the street can learn something very simple that they can take back out, all the way down to there's people that are doing maybe sportive stuff, so we can twist the concept to be able to give them something
Okay.
to work on for their progression. And then we have advanced students to where we can do something for that. So there's always a focus point, but we have different progressions, so everyone can be training at the same
Right.
time. No one's left behind.
Okay.
And
You
everyone's
feel like
getting for
answering
it.
a question from Kevin Porter. He wants to know, what arts do you consider to be the core of your Jeet Kune Do? Yeah.
What arts?
That's an interesting question.
It's really hard. It's really, I mean, there are like the core arts, Wing Chun being like a backbone where everything's a platform to come from, but it's kind of really hard to classify and bring an art or a technique into a concept or a philosophy,
Right.
which is what Jeet Kune Do is
Yeah.
based on, right? And
I
so,
think it was a test
I guess,
question to see what kind of answer you would give.
oh, well, I mean, that's really my answer. It's an ambiguous answer, like any answer a question is,
yeah.
man. It's JKD. It's what is it? It's that right there. So
Okay.
that's my answer, I guess. Kevin Porter, thanks for asking.
All right. So you never did anything before you started like the kickboxing class with Clay, and then transitioned into the JKD. That's it?
Yeah, I started to dabble a little more with Clay as I started to get more into the MMA side. I started doing both classes because at that time there was kind of one of his students was teaching more of like an MMA kind of style, and then Clay had his standard Jeet Kune Do class.
Right.
That was how we were doing it years and years ago, and so from there I just was a student that just kind of stuck around
Right.
and never went away. And one day his instructor that he had to kind of jet, and so
Wow.
I became the punching dummy, and then that was really
That's
what
cool.
forged our
That's
relationship.
Cool. Okay. So you mentioned what was it? No retreat, no surrender. What you mentioned a movie earlier on. I guess when you were when you were a teenager. Was it
No
that?
retreat, no surrender? Was it something?
Yeah,
was
you
it something I commented recently,
no.
or
Like
was
a
it
few
something I
minutes
just
ago,
said?
you made a reference to a movie or something. Anyhow, I was just going to point out that you didn't make a reference to a Bruce Lee movie, so I wanted to know what was up with that. You got to explain now. You got to tell me about the influence of Bruce Lee on you.
Oh, the influence of Bruce Lee. Do you mind giving me 30 seconds? There's someone that's right here at the door, a student. I need to tell them that I'm kind of busy right now. Do you mind?
No,
Does
that's
everyone
fine.
mind real quick?
Okay, why don't
I'll
you
take
do
you
that?
guys with me real quick. Give you an exclusive
Yeah.
sneak preview of the gym without really
and
seeing
for
it.
those who are not aware, this is called going with the flow.
You said 5 to 7?
What's up?
You said 5 to 7?
Yeah, I'll hang on
Okay.
to it. Hey, I'm actually on an interview right now. Do you guys want to say hi? This is one of my private students from today that was that was training.
Hey.
All right, well, thank you guys. I'll see you. Hey, I like your Selena shirt.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one. Thank y'all. We're doing a bake sale right now. I'm sorry for the kids that are going to
Oh,
compete
okay.
to kind of raise some money, and yeah, I'll put this down.
No, like
I
said,
apologize for
it's
that,
called
everybody.
Going with the flow, man.
Hey, man. I thought I had my V Water
Yeah.
shirt on, but yeah. Yes, sir. All right, so
Who the heck
I'm sorry,
designs
where were
all
we?
those shirts that I've seen? The Jeet for Life and all that stuff.
Singh has designed basically everything for the Jeet Kune Do Athletic Association. Singh has been the mind behind those, and everything for the Texas Jeet Kune Do has been Clay with some input
all right.
from me and Beverly.
Okay, all right. So we were at Influence of Bruce Lee, I think. Yeah.
Influence of Bruce Lee. I was
Oh,
hoping you
okay.
wouldn't ask me this.
Well, too bad.
But I'll answer it anyway. Yeah, too bad. They're not gonna hate me for it, but it's who I am, and I have to express myself through this interview. So my first, I really didn't know about Bruce Lee until I
Right.
even came into this gym. My experience with martial artists were anything I watched as a cartoon as a kid,
Right.
and Chuck Norris. So to be honest, I knew who Bruce Lee was, but he was always this
Right.
person that fought against Chuck Norris. And dude, I grew up with my dad. My dad's like the spitting image of Chuck
Ah.
Norris in his heyday. So my dad, I grew up to like hearing Chuck Norris sing his own theme song to Walker Texas Ranger. And so I was a big Chuck Norris fan, even before I really knew martial arts. And so Bruce Lee was always this random guy that was like,
Right.
oh, he beat Chuck Norris. But Bruce Lee really wasn't in my life until this. And so really,
Yeah.
I jumped headfirst into
Yeah. No,
his
see,
legacy,
that's
essentially.
that's interesting
And
because
that
we
was it.
always assume that anybody who's in JKD, it's because of Bruce Lee. And I know for a fact, yeah, and I know for
I
a
see
fact
that a lot.
it's not always that at all. Not at all. And then, so I wanted to ask you about that though, because you're involved in an art where the first generation people, those of them who are still alive,
Yes, sir.
are 3 to
Yes,
three
sir.
and a half times as old as you are. Right? The second generation
sir.
people,
Hey, but they're
right?
still moving
The
good.
second generation people are like 2 to 2.5 times your age. So and I don't really even know how to ask this, but I was wondering if that had any
Please.
impact on you, if it was of significance or not of significance. If you've ever sat and thought, my God, this thing that I'm involved in has this huge history. You know what I mean? I'm probably not articulating it really well, but I just find it fascinating that there's somebody like you out there in JKD. Let's say, protecting the rear guard, and then we got Dan Inosanto at age 83 up front, still leading. And so I wonder then, for you, what do you make of that, if anything?
What's cool is it gives me. I feel there's so many people in life that dread this. We're all on our own kind of kung fu adventure and our own path, and it all leads to the same place. And I feel a lot of people fear that, and we learn the art of dying. And so what it taught me, what I'm really trying to say is, what it taught me is this is
Yeah.
a lifetime thing. And so every year I'm not afraid of aging or getting older. Every year I'm looking forward to, man, now I can
Right.
kick my ass from a year ago. And so seeing these titans out there that are training, that are still doing it and moving around, man, it's just like, it gives me this whole lifetime to be able to not only look forward to stay in a physical shape, but already what it's done for my life mentally and what it's done for me spiritually to help those around me. I can imagine whenever I'm their age, how much more influence I'll have on myself and others around me. So it's like seeing those guys is like, it's kind of like having a vision and seeing myself eventually. So it's not really a weighing down thing. It's just like a, whoa. It's
But
crazy
you
to
said
be a part of this
you
big
mentioned
thing.
something about working with kids before you even started in martial art. What were you doing with kids?
Whenever I was in high school, I did dabble in it sometimes in junior high. Well, to be honest, about in junior high, I don't know, man. At some point, I went to go read for some children a little story. I went to go help out a teacher that had asked me, and there's just something
Right.
about it that was really gratifying. To like have these kids have their attention and be helping them out, whether it be reading or
Yeah.
something like that, or helping them color. And so just something about that just kind of resonated with me. And so after that in junior high, I was a part of honor societies where you went into lower grades to help kids out. And then whenever I was in high school, I was even a part of more where you went down to help kids that are younger. You went to go to, they had like a miniature, they call it the miniature Special Olympics, where you can help handicapped kids and do stuff. And so anything like that, I was usually a part of. And I really wasn't really a part of helping the kids program here at first. It was just something I saw whenever I walked in. And I never really put the two together, but it was just,
Yeah.
I just kind of really helped
What
out
were
with
you
the kids.
what were you supposed to I'm going to make a whole bunch of assumptions. What were you right? What were you supposed to leave school and go to college to study?
My mom's watching. She's like,
You see, I figured she'd be watching, so I threw this one. I threw this one in for her.
putting me in the hot seat, man. College. I did go for a little bit. In high school, I'm not saying I'm not intelligent. In high school, I did really good in school. I graduated with like one of the higher honors in the class and stuff like that. But I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew it had to be something physical. So I was thinking, along the lines of personal training because myself, I had found a way to start building myself up. So I'm like, okay, cool. I want to go.
Did you see Mom's comment? She says, "Tell the truth."
I'm trying to. If she would just give me a damn second. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. And now my neighbors are laughing. Candido, and everyone's watching. Yeah, I'm sorry. Where were we? That just threw me off guard. My mom. Oh, so I went to college and started to get like the first basics to where I wanted to be a personal trainer, but also at that time I had like a fuller time job, and I started kind of helping at the gym a little bit as well. And so whenever I couldn't really balance the way I wanted to, and I was already kind of doing what I wanted, and so I just kind of stopped going to the classes and basically started interning at Texas Jeet Kune Do, which was then Tactical Defense Academy.
Was that what? What was it called?
It's cool. I'm saying it used to be Tactical Defense.
Yeah. I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still a part of our. That's still our name. Sorry, there's some kids coming in. That's still our name, in the sense that for more of our law enforcement side, we have our own kind of branch called Tactical Defense. We still use it, but that was our base name. We're Texas Jeet Kune Do. But I started interning here, and that was it.
Since you're talking about early days,
college.
what were you around when? What was it when there used to be like that Friday night fight night thing, with the trucks and?
So this is cool. So Clay is like a generation before me. Thank God that we didn't meet each other in high school, because I don't know how that would have ended. Yeah, I don't know, So, excuse me, So he did all that and stuff like that, and I think he probably ruined it for the whole class and people after, or he just probably stopped having it whenever he went off to college or whatever. But whenever I was in high school, there was and it was right after I had started training. This movie had come out called Never Back Down.
That's the one. That's the one.
Looking back, oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
Oh, Never Retreat, Never Surrender. It was like the Karate Kid of my generation. Looking back at it now, it's kind of lame, but whatever. And so in that movie, it was basically there's these high schoolers that would circle up cars and get in fights, and that came out while I was in high school, like right after I started training. And then so the whole cycle started back up, and so what do you know? Like, I guess the spirit lived on, and so we started, and we got some cheapo gloves from Walmart, like the $10 gloves. You can't really close your hands all the way in, and yes, that's the best thing I've ever heard described today. But and so we did that, and we lined everyone up, and I refed sometimes, and it was right after I started training, and so back then I was still like a little like, yeah, I've been training for a couple months, and I still got lit up a couple times. I was still able to do my own a couple times, and what's cool is there was a guy that I went against, I won't say any names or anything, but he came to the gym a couple years later, and karma's good, man. Karma's a good thing. But yeah, we both were a part of this thing that was happening, but it was a separate time.
So, do you have
changed? I've changed a lot. I promise. I'm a much. As Clay says, we have both evolved in many ways.
So when Kevin Porter asked the question about what arts, and Bill Singh made a comment that I think I can't find it now, but it was something about maybe the core art of Jeet Kune Do is the art of Jeet Kune Do, right? So Yeah, so I
Oh,
wanted to
beautiful.
ask you,
Yes.
do you have a statement, right? Whether it's taken from Bruce Lee or somebody else in the JKD world, or if you developed it yourself, do you have a statement which defines and explains Jeet Kune Do perfectly?
It's hard because Jeet Kune Do is a simple art, but it's also a very complex art at the same time. It's kind of goes along with the Bruce Lee quote to where at first like, a
Okay.
punch is a punch, but then once you get into the
Yeah.
complexity, it's more than a punch, and it's more than a kick. But once that becomes nature and natural again, then it becomes simple again. I mean, that's how really what JKD is to me. But that's a very, again, very, very broad way. It's very hard to define. Um, it's an art composed of many but confined to none.
Okay. Okay.
That's probably what I had to say.
The video, there was a recent video of you and Mrs. Pratka, flow sparring, I think is what you called it. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
give me the guidelines for training that way. What is flow sparring? Are there rules for
Flow
it?
sparring.
Is there a strategy? What is it?
So flow sparring is something that really anyone can do because sparring doesn't have to be beating the dog out of each other, right? It can be as simple as, ooh, this fly, I'm looking at Miyagi. Oh, my kung fu is weak today. So anyone can do it, right? So me and Beverly are obviously doing it on a higher level. And we were flow sparring with what I was teaching as a breakdown last week, essentially. And so to flow spar, yes, you have to know what you're doing a little bit. You have to know the technique. You have to have a basis and a foundation to kind of move around from, whether it be just you're flow sparring with a jab, and one side only has nothing, like you're just defending. Or one side can have a jab and the other side has a cross. And you can do this in an infinite amount of ways. There's
Right.
so many games. Sifu Singh came out with a thing called
Yes.
combat chess games. There's
Yes.
many ways you can do it. It's just you can build it up or you can
Yeah.
break it down as much as you want. And so whenever, like since me and Beverly are getting ready for this competition, we're able to do it more at a higher level using more methods of attack. But it's cool though too because you can still be using these methods of attack that we're doing on a primary and a secondary nature,
Yeah.
even with the simplest tool. So again, you can teach someone on their first night strategy with one tool, which is a pretty
So
cool thing
what
to have.
what
the ability to do.
what well now I'm going to see if you confirm a suspicion of mine. What are the origins of flow sparring? The origins, yeah.
Origins of flow sparring.
Because it reminds me of something else. I'm just trying to see if I'm on the right track. Okay, let me ask you this. So you guys were just kickboxing. To what else can it apply?
Oh, dude, to anything. Whether it's like really whatever art you want to, or you can take it outside of martial
Oh,
arts
really?
really if you want to. So the origin, flowing, I mean to be water. I mean, that's the basis of it all.
No,
It can
see,
apply
because
anywhere.
it looked to me like what we called in the old days knife sparring. Right?
Ah,
That's
cool,
what it
yeah.
looked like. It looked like the old school knife sparring.
Like actually using like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trainer blade, like
You know,
moving in
where
and out.
you
knife
start
sparring and
with
stuff.
the only
Okay.
target is your opponent's knife hand, and then you add
Yes, sir.
you add progressive targets, then you add more equipment. Maybe you put the boxing glove on the left hand, then you add the shin gear,
Yes, sir.
then you add the motorcycle helmet or the headgear, and go up from there. That's what it looked like to me. So I wondered if that was its origins for you guys.
Well, it's kind of built in our progressions because we had it. I mean, we've done all these things as well. Because it's cool is like Clay has the influence and Sifu Singh has
Right.
the influence of the old school
Right.
as well as having the new school as well. But man, isn't that the beauty of the weapon to be able to like? It's cool because that's how I learned
Yes.
methods of attack and things like that. And I probably would not be able to flow as much as I could without the ability and the mechanics and the timing and like the strategy I got from using the weapon, hands down. So yeah, that's probably, to be honest, it's probably a lot of the origin of where the flowing came from. It's just us flowing with the weapons and then starting to translate that to the empty hands, whether it be a numerata style or sombrata,
Right.
which me and her were kind of doing.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
You talked about old school and new school. What do you personally pull from old school? Yeah.
From old school, as inside of Jeet Kune
Hey,
Do,
man, what
or
are we
martial
talking
arts in
about
general?
here?
Touche. I consider old school, to me, old school at the moment, I mean, it's really anyone that's dating behind Clay or behind Sifu Singh, because a lot of our drills and stuff like that kind of, came down and trickled from there, and then we took them from there and kind of evolved them and stuff like that. And so I guess that's what I'm meaning by old school and new school is like we have these same drills that we've been doing for a long time. We're finding different ways, and Sifu Singh and Clay are
Right.
finding ways to develop them and
Right.
and evolve them in different
So
levels as well. But like, so old school meaning like the training, like putting on motorcycle helmets and stuff like that. That's the old school stuff that I'm talking about. Like, to me, whenever I first started training, my version of old school was motorcycle helmets, MMA gloves, putting on lacrosse gloves, stick barring and stuff like that. And although we still do that, we have a lot more things that we incorporate now.
You'll be the preview of it, and then I'll talk to Sifu Singh, and he'll go in depth. But chess games, just give me the surface level explanation of that, because I did see something about that on one of the websites. So I wanted to ask you just a little bit about it, but I'm gonna set him up for a few weeks from now, and if he can make it, then we'll go in depth. But you tell me.
I got you. I'll give you a little
Yeah.
exclusive sneak preview, I guess. I mean, so much pressure, and it's like I look over and I see a picture of Sifu Singh looking at me right there. It's really just it's as simple as can be. It's just think of the infinite amount of things you can do by yourself or with a partner using the methods of attack, the timings of attack, and primary and secondary and the strategy. It's infinite, and that's really a look into the idea of what it's based on.
Okay.
And it's a system, or it's a if I'm not mistaken, it's a format that's going to be released.
Okay.
But that's really
All right.
the gist of it.
Okay.
That I'll say.
Is there anybody from old school that you? Well, I'm sure you have trained because you Tanya Subing came out for the retreat, so right.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
that's
know.
awesome.
So who else from old school have you spent time with?
To be honest, from the old school, she's one of the few that I've had the opportunity to spend time with. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing Dan Inosanto or Kimura or really any of the guys. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting Larry Hartzell and stuff like that. I haven't met Paul Vunak. A lot of my exposure in JKD is Clay and Sifu Singh, and then obviously what they passed down from going to all those guys, and then what I've seen from them.
Is
there
anybody that you have your heart set on spending time with?
I would love to see Dan. Man, I would love to. Just to go to one of his seminars, but to be honest, just to go up and shake his hand. I feel like I could, I put that up there with going up and shaking Chuck Norris' hand, which is a possibility whenever I go to Vegas in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. But yeah, I would love to.
So when you meet Chuck Norris, right? Here's what you got to do. You got to go, Chuck. Right? Here's where you got to go. Right? You go, Chuck. Do you remember when you first started becoming famous and you were going down to your house in Puerto Rico, and you had a layover in Miami, and they put you in the Ionosphere Club with this skinny little black kid that talked your ear off for about an hour about Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto. Do you remember that kid? Right? And when he goes, yeah, I remember that kid. Then you go, I just spoke to him last Friday.
Hey, that's crazy. You had
Yeah.
that entire time
Yeah.
to be
So,
able
I
to
mean,
spit with him.
he
Wow.
was, he was, as you young people say, he was blowing up, right? And so he was coming through.
What was he just coming off of? Like, what
Oh,
was the movie he had
God.
just made? Was it like 80s or was it
No,
70s?
no.
Like Good Guys Wear Black
would
or
have
like
been,
Delta
this would
Force?
have been late 80s. Late 80s, early
I got you.
90s. And so my manager says, he goes, oh, Woods, you're a karate guy. Why don't you just take Chuck Norris into the Ionosphere Club? That's like Americans' Admirals Club, right? He goes, why don't you just take him in and just babysit him while he waits? I was like, okay, yeah,
Babysit
right.
Chuck Norris,
So,
yeah. Why not? Sure.
right. So listen to this. So I sit him down and we start talking. Now I'm pretty smart, so I'm feeling him out, right? And then I name drop Dan Inasano. Everything changed. The whole world opened up for me. Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay. That's awesome. Yes. He thought you were just like some little punk, and then it's like, oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
that's great. Oh, if I have the pleasure, I will make sure.
He'll have no
You know?
idea what you're talking about. Right? Yeah.
Hey, you never know. You
But
could
that
have
was
the memory of an elephant. I had one quick thing I wanted to say real quick. I do apologize. Where is it at? Jay, one of our guys from Calgary and Canada, he's part of the JKD. He mentioned Richard Bustillo. I forgot that I had the pleasure to meet and train with Richard Bustillo at the JKD Expo
right.
1 year in California. He actually demonstrated a puck style on me, and it was like a highlight. I can't believe it slipped my mind.
Yeah.
I
No,
super apologize.
Actually, it
I
slipped
really
my
apologize.
mind too
It
because I
slipped.
did see a picture of that when I was researching you. I did see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It was an awesome experience. He came in and he taught different gates, and he taught his
Okay.
combinations.
Okay.
that
All
he
right.
had gotten from
Okay.
Bruce.
So I know you got stuff to work on. So let's do. Let me do one last thing. Right.
Has it already been like an hour?
We're going on 50 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay.
So.
I've had fun so far. It's been nice. It's been a pleasure. And by the way, I love what you do, man. Like the idea, like the whole, even the name Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Like that's so awesome. And then you have Bruce and you have Marley in the background, and like you're giving voice to people that haven't been heard before. I just wanted to take this moment to say, like, that's truly awesome that
Well-
that you're doing this. And like even someone like me, like there's people that you've interviewed that are like crazy up there, and it's cool to have
but
you.
see, it's like
do
I
this
tell
for me.
people all the time, right? We got one of the greatest martial art families out there, but the
I
whole
believe so.
world doesn't know that. And then some of us within the Jeet Kune Do world, we're not aware of it either. You know what I mean? So I do my little
I
part to just get eyes on as many people as I can, right? So okay, so here. Yeah, exactly.
We're all on the same
exactly.
path. We're all on the same path, and we're
All
all
right. Okay,
spreading
so
light
here's
at the
what I
end
want
of
you
the
to
day.
do. Role models
Yeah.
for four qualities. Who are your role models for character?
My
Yeah.
role models for character. For character, I'd have to say first my mother, because I wouldn't be, I guess, the character that I kind of am without. She always expressed to me how important it was just to be myself, especially being like when I was growing up in the state that I was. She was like, just be you. She never forced me to do anything I didn't want to do. She just is like, be you as much as you can, and don't let anyone ever tell you anything different. So
Okay.
that's one for character. Number two is my dad. 'Cause my dad is of the old school. He's worked as a roughneck for 40 years, still 50 years of his life, and his hard work, his mind, his mindset, what he has to do to get ahead, and
Yeah.
everything he has to sacrifice to be able to do so. That's always had a huge influence on me. He's probably never even heard that, so you got lucky hearing this on the interview. And two more in character.
Now we can move on. Okay.
There's a
All right. Role
lot,
model.
you know. There's a lot.
This is kind of I worded it weirdly, but your role model for philosophy.
Bruce Lee. 100%. Like just from, he gave me the vehicle, or he gave people to give people to give people
Right.
to give to me the vehicle. That's
Yeah.
how alive he still is. So, 100%. Him, and then other influences like
Yeah.
of Taoist
Yeah.
nature. And stuff like that.
Role model for, now this is going to be an interesting one because you'll probably have a bunch of people. Role model for movement.
Bruce Lee, Ali, Clay, Steve Singh, Mike Tyson, Ip Man, Dan Inosanto, Illustrissimo, anyone from San Miguel, Lomachenko, anyone that I can see that I can steal something from, you better believe that I'm going to.
Yeah.
And so I have influences from many because I'm confined to nothing, because everything works for someone in a different way, and
Right.
maybe not work for someone. And I just find
Right.
what I can to work.
Okay.
I had my basis, I had the show, but it's cool because I was able to get pointed to the door, but I'm able to walk through it
Okay.
myself now.
Role model for attitude. Yeah.
Attitude. Like my demeanor? Shaft. No, I'm just kidding. I just saw a Shaft commercial before this.
Yeah.
Mother. No, I can't say the rest.
Right. They're doing a sequel.
I
Right?
guess
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. It's like the last thing I saw right before I came, and I'm like, oh, who's the man with
Oh
the
my
master plan?
God.
I'm like, Gunnar.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that's the difference between you and me. The last movie I watched was a French film starring Juliette Binoche.
Oh, it sounds like a beautiful film. Just- different strokes for different folks, my man.
Okay. All right. Yeah, but you still okay. So besides
Yeah.
Shaft, who else is the role model for attitude?
For attitude. Me, from yesterday.
Mm.
I'm always
Yeah.
trying to become that better me. And so I'm not saying I have bad attitude, but there's always an improvement. There's always an improvement, and there's always the essentials that you can hack away.
All right.
So,
Okay.
me,
All right.
really.
Okay. Go do what you got to do.
I know I have a
Yeah.
training client here in a little bit. I got to get Beverly over here to beat me up a little bit. And... Hey, I guess we'll be probably putting up live videos, so I hope you watch some of us whenever we're competing, some of our kids and us.
Yeah,
we're competing
when
as
is
well.
the
I hope you're
competition?
able to
When is
scoop
it?
that. So it's the weekend of July 4th, or it's right after July 4th. I believe it's
Yeah,
the 5th
because-
through the 7th. We'll be competing on that Friday and Saturday. No, weigh-ins are Friday, and we'll be,
Right. I think that's
competing
July
on
6th
Saturday.
because July 4th is a Thursday, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Okay.
So-
Well, I'm pretty sure I won't have anything to do. You know? All right.
Oh man, well,
Now, man,
I'm sure you have
this is
plenty
it.
to do.
This is no.
But I hope
this
you make
is
some
what I
time for
live
us.
Believe me.
Hey, I
Yeah,
believe
there
you
you
because
go.
I'm doing the
There you
same
go.
thing.
All right, brother. All right.
I had
Yeah.
a good time. It was fun.
Yeah.
I guess just hit me up.
We'll do
I'd
it
love
again,
to come on and talk
For
to
sure.
you again
All
sometime.
right. Take
and-
care. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. You too. Or hey, first, are you still on?
Yeah, I didn't get rid of you. Okay. All right. So that was episode 72 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Gunnar Davis, right? Cool kid, huh? Those of us who are like I said, I'm like 3 times his age or something. I think we can relax and know that we got pretty good people coming up the ranks of Jeet Kune Do, and they'll be able to perpetuate the art. So so that's it for today. So feel free, like, copy, share, like, comment, ask questions if you want. Right. Thanks, Mrs. Pratka. Sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook, and also when we post the final edit video on the YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods, on Instagram at Dwight D Woods. Next Friday, episode number 73, will be with my new friend Dean Franco, and I'm pretty sure that'll be at 6 p.m. also right here on Facebook. So I'll see you back here next time. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day. Talk to you soon.